but an outline of the yoga method that will become the heart and soul of Tantric Shaivism, of all the Tantric movements, including Vajrayana or Tantric Buddhism as well. Okay, so we're taught that, and by the way, this is, again, not my translation. I didn't have time to translate the whole Maitrī Upanishad, but I am paraphrasing it and retranslating it in my PhD, and I'm happy to provide that information as soon as I'm done editing this section. So now I take you into my current work and writing, and I might, monkey with the English a bit. So the precept, or the rule, right? The standard formula for effecting yoga, for literally producing the state of awakening, is this. And we're given, of course, not a sequence here, but just the bullet point list of techniques applied in that sequence. Does that make sense? So-called Shatanga, or sixfold yoga. Restraint, better translated as ayama of prana, can mean restraint, but it's better translated as regulation of breathing, meaning to say a purposeful manipulation is the best word of one's prana. Whether we're elongating a breath, shortening a breath, holding the breath, we're manipulating it in the sense of controlling it artfully or dexterously according to prescription, according to what is prescribed. Withdrawal of the senses, this definitely has to be retranslated. Poor translation here. If one is actually reading this text as a precursor to Tantra, as you should, we'll see why in a minute, withdrawal of the senses is not quite accurate. That's kind of superimposed from Patanjali's very life-negating Yoga Sutra, where everything's about withdrawal, dispassion, disengagement. That is not what we find in the Upanishads. It's not what we find in the Tantras. Indeed, it's not what we really find. This is a bit of a drum roll here. Radical Tompkins coming out, I suppose. It's really not what we find in the yoga tradition. It's only in the Yoga Sutra. And I guess one of the sort of side cases I'm making through my work is that the Yoga Sutra and its extremely negative outlook on existence, although it has many of the core features of the yoga of its of these antecedents, in this case of the Upanishads, it chooses to take only one side of the story, which is the need to disengage from sensual distraction, and rides that all the way home, meaning to say you don't have any proactive or positive engagement of awareness onto something. And that includes the syllable Om itself. You do have the concept of meditating on Om, but it falls kind of dead on the notion, Yoga Sutra now, on the notion that Om is Ishvara Pranidhanam. I should be devoted to God. God has no features. Om is the sound of God, but I cannot experience Om until I'm dead, essentially, or in the last moments of life. In other words, there's no such thing as uchara in the Yoga Sutra, right? Because that's an active conscious practice that is meant to homologize or literally harmonize the sympathetic resonance of